So welcome to District 4, the best place to be for information and news. I am your host, A Love. We are talking financial literacy. Yes, we are starting our series on financial literacy. We're going to talk about, it's going to air, just so you'll know, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time, and then 6 p.m. if you're on the East Coast. We're going to start with talking about mindsets that keep you broke. Now, it sounds kind of crazy. Okay, why am I telling you this? Because in order to even get you to absorb any of the rest of the information we're going to tell you, we have to let you know that your mindset is important. It's important for you to examine and think about your relationship with money, which most people don't. I mean, you kind of just go and it just is what it is. But in order to build something, you have to start from zero. Just give you a little bit of my background. I was an executive for many years, and part of my job was to not just keep the company fluid, but also keep it out of the red, or get it out of the red if it was, to bring in money to the company, and basically to handle the finances, to keep the health financially for the company. And I was able to apply a lot of these techniques to my own finances. And in my interim, don't tell anybody, but I was a gold broker. So I also had to look at people's portfolios and figure out how to fit that into their plan. So we're going to start with the first thing. The first mindset that you need to examine is you want to make sure you know the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Now you're probably like, well, what does that mean? Like, isn't it the same thing? You have money, you have money. It's not the same thing. It's actually different. And this is what we want to open up by just getting you to look at. If you're rich, you probably have a quote unquote good job. You might have a self-employment company that you're working. It's allowing you to pay your bills. Maybe have a little extra on the side. Maybe you have a set amount of money that you were given in the bank and it's just sitting in there. You would be considered, rich, because you're not really struggling at that point. You're not in a deficient mindset. But if you lost your job, your business went under, if you suddenly realize you spent all the money in your account, or the majority of it, would you be in a scarcity mindset? Now, if the answer is yes, or would you, panic, or would you be worried, how long could you actually survive? That's the difference. If you are wealthy, not just rich, and I'm talking rich, you could have millions of dollars and just lose them. Will Smith is a great example of that. He'll tell you himself, in the beginning, he lost all the money that he earned, over $1 million. So he was rich, but also still in a scarcity mindset. Wealthy means, how long can you go? And you have to really ask yourself this question. I mean, if you've got a negative deficit in the bank account right now until your paycheck, you're not going to be able to go until that next paycheck. So, which means if that paycheck is no longer there, you're in trouble. A wealthy person, if Elon Musk lost his company or his job, do you think he'd be running around wondering if he's going to eat the next day? For those of you that know him, the answer is an obvious no, right? Do you think Jay-Z's worried about, whether or not he can rap again? No, he's not worried about that. So the first thing is to understand that. If you can sort of grasp that concept, that there is a difference between the two, because a lot of times when you're not taught financial literacy, you think, well, just because the person has money, therefore they are rich. And that they are rich, but you're thinking for life, like they're never gonna ever lose that, or all their bills are paid. Some people live over their means, even in the $1 million bracket. You're living over your means at times. So keep that in mind. That's number one, that you really have to, to start you on your plan to financial freedom. And the second one would be struggle. How do you view struggle? Okay, if I got divorced and I've got 4 kids and I have to go on welfare. Let's say I wasn't originally, but I lost my job somehow in the process, or maybe I was a stay-at-home mom and I have to now, go on, go to the government or get help or, live with a family member or whatever you do. And you've got these kids, if you think that situation is permanent, it will be. It will be. And you'll stay there and you will never build into anything else. There is not one, if you look at the stories or ask a person that has great wealth, they will, almost all of them, if they started from zero, maybe like 95.5% of them will tell you that they at one time lost all their money. They had to start over, or they had never gained. It took them forever to build 4 or 5 companies before they got the one company that was actually working for them. Sometimes even 10. So it is the thought that they were thinking, this is not gonna stay. I'm not gonna stay like this. I am going to, rebuild. And sometimes that's necessary. So in your mindset of building wealth and not just being rich, you can be rich by winning the lottery, right? But how many lottery winners actually keep their money? Many of them, statistically speaking, end up broke again. So that's definitely a very important one if you're learning to learn about financial literacy. And then a really good one is look at your past. Not your past specifically, but sort of the past of the people that you're around. What are you saying to yourself? What were you taught growing up? These are things you have, and look at them briefly. Don't look at it with shame or blame or anything. Just look at it and say, at any time during that state, was I taught about finances? That's what you're looking for. You're not looking to, bash your family, whatever. But you're looking to see, was I taught this stuff? Because for most people, the answer is probably no. No, you didn't have an example, right? If you don't have, a parent that had, reached financial wealth and success in something, then you don't have the example either. So it's something that you just never learned. So for many people, when you ask yourself maybe how someone comes out of a bad environment and ends up, extremely wealthy, it's because they sort of understood that they were never taught these things. And so they were sort of learning as they went along. And this is where you are now. If you're watching this video, you're already started because you're already going to get in that mindset. And then this should be number one if you ever put number one on anything. One of my favorite mantras to live by is, someone said, if you gave all of the rich people's money to the poor people. Poor meaning mindset, not meaning necessarily finances, but poor people. That the situation will be reversed maybe in 30 days, 2 weeks to 30 days, because their mind is not of scarcity. And I say all that to say this: you must have multiple streams of income, multiple streams of passive income. You cannot rely on one thing. You ever heard the term, don't put all your eggs in one basket? Most people don't think of that financially. They really think of it as, maybe in a relationship or, with, some sort of venture that they're looking at. But you don't really think about that financially. You think, I've got a great job, especially if people who are executives, or you're a doctor or nurse or lawyer or whatever your job is that you do, and you're thinking, I'm fine. I'm not struggling for money. I'm not wondering if my lights are going to get cut off. I'm okay. But if your thought process is that if you lost that income, you would have to make major adjustments to your lifestyle financially, then you are quote unquote rich, but you're not wealthy yet. So this is something to think about because it's very, very important. And all of these things really to teach you the mindset is to get you to understand that we're trying to help the people that started from zero. If you already have financial literacy, yes, these tips will help you too. I mean, if you have a business or something, but it's really, really gonna be geared towards starting from zero. We're talking to the person with the -2, in their bank account, because they got the late fee because they overcharged something and it overflew their account. We're talking about that person. We're talking about probably some college people that are doing that, or people that are just overwhelmed because they lived too far above their means and they need to come back. They might have, maybe they had a great job, and so they bought a bigger house, and they expanded their business, and they did all this thing, and then COVID-19 hit, and then all of a sudden, your business was a restaurant, and now you're scaling. How do you build back up? So these are the types of things that we want to help you with. Another one, just like as a little bonus, I guess I would put in there. I'm not sure if I had exactly 5. Just pretend I did. I'm not sure if I had exactly 5, but you really have to everyone's on the grind. I personally hate this term because it especially in the mindset of a younger person, because it makes you feel like, oh, I'm on my grind, I'm getting things done, I'm making things happen. And it's like, okay, that's, sounds nice. But it's also a scarcity mindset. Because if you're grinding, you're not there. you're getting there. And you can actually get addicted to struggle, to the grind, as we call it, quote unquote, especially if you think it's kind of cool to be grinding, I'm hustling and all that stuff. And I'm not saying those are bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying check your level of thought with that, because it goes under the mindset of you talking about being broke all the time, or if you're hanging out with people that are broke all the time. If you're hanging out with people on the grind all the time, and you yourself are on the grind, how do you elevate yourself? It's not allowing you to think that the situation is temporary sometimes. I'm not putting down grinding, it's grind on, but I just want you to be careful when you start to think of that. The whole point of this first part in our series is to teach you the mindsets, the thought processes that tend to keep you broke. Once you get out of those circles, you'll start to see that the language definitely changes, because the mind changes, right? It's like people that graduated from college versus people that didn't, or people that have children versus people that don't. It's just a different mindset, because the changes and the needs that you need are different. Well, the same thing happens financially. If you're not taught these things, you don't know what to look for, and you stay in that mindset of scarcity. And that's really the thing that if you listen to any person that talks to you about finances, they're trying to get you out of that scarcity mindset. They've probably been there themselves. I have been there myself. Don't think I'm, they have gained and lost. They've started businesses and they failed. You start usually about 9 businesses before the 10th one actually takes off, if you're lucky. So that's the mindset we're trying to stop with first, just so that you're open enough to hear the rest of what I have to say, the rest of what I have learned and can teach you, and the rest of what I'm going to get information from other people as well that have also lived and worked on finances, because it's a skill. It really is. It's something that you have to learn how to apply to your life. Because if I didn't have that, no company would have ever trusted me. If I don't have my own money correct, no company would have ever trusted me to take care of theirs. So I'm looking forward to this series. I'm very excited, and I hope these videos help you. And like I said, on Wednesdays at 3. I also want to talk about our comments. We don't post them all, and it isn't because we don't appreciate them. We really do. I know we get a lot of other comments that go, why aren't you posting them? We don't post them most of the time because they're usually long. It's like a long question, or it's a story. A lot of people tell stories, and that's fine. We love all of that, but we don't really post all of those because it's a lot, and we have to remember to answer them as well. So that's it. Make sure you comment. We do read them, and we will be answering questions during this series as well. So you have a question, put it in the comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe, because a lot of people think, oh, well, are you not all finance? People subscribe to one thing and realize we do multiple subjects. But we will always, from moving forward, tell you the posting times that we're going to actually do for that particular subject, if that's all you're interested in. But we have a lot of good stuff, so we want you to watch, all of them. Just take a look at them really briefly. You'll find that we have a very well-versed staff and a lot of information on a lot of things. things that will help you out. So, because we do information and news, right? Thank you so much. I do look forward to seeing you in the series Wednesdays, 3 p.m. That's Pacific time, and then of course that would be 6 o'clock Eastern time. I will see you next Wednesday.